Welcome to the Audiobook Lovin Podcast, discussing all things audiobooks with the authors that write the stories and the narrators that perform them. Brought to you by Viviana, Enchantress of Books.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 5 of the Audiobook Lovin Podcast. My guest today is author Victoria Blue. Welcome to the Audiobook Lovin Podcast, Victoria. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. I know we've been kind of like, let's do this. And it's been scheduling. And, you have this thing with your writing and deadlines.
Pesty deadlines.
Yeah, exactly. Your own podcast that you do and stuff like that, which we'll talk soon about that. But I'm so excited to finally get to chat with you here. Because we talk online sometimes, but this is different.
Yes. Do that narrator loving.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that in a bit too.
Definitely.
She gets so cute when she has a crush on a narrator's voice. It's adorable.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm a fangirl. I'm a fangirl at heart. I can't help it.
And it's okay. It's totally good. That's also, as a listener, we love it when the authors also fangirl, because that means that we're almost in the same boats. And so you also want it to be just as good for you, not because of just the author and the business side, but from a listener's perspective. So thank you for being a fangirl. Yeah.
My pleasure. Trust me.
Well, why don't we start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been writing, and how you got started.
All right. So I'm Victoria Blue, and I live in Southern California. I have a husband for 27 years, and we have 2 kids. They're grown now, 25 and 21, and a bunch of cats. And it's kind of a crazy life. My husband and I own a business, a manufacturing business. So I do that all day, CFO kind of thing. And then I write at night. And so it's just a crazy life, very busy. So yeah, that's it. So I got started writing. I've done a bunch of collab work with Angel Payne, and I was a reader of hers, a fan of hers. And I reached out to her when I saw that she lived in Orange County, which is near where I live. And I thought, how cool. Here's someone, that lives near me. And I just started messaging her on Facebook. And I told her that I was going to be, in her neck of the woods. I had to have a vehicle of mine serviced. And she's like, oh, we should get together for coffee. And I thought, are you serious? Like, here's this author saying that to me. And I was like, okay. And she ended up picking me up, I'm not joking, at the car dealership. And we went out to lunch and we hit it off like famously. We just could not stop talking. And you know what we talked about the whole time? Twilight. We were both like twihards so bad. And that was it. I mean, it just was off to the races from there. Just went crazy from there.
That is awesome. We had Angel a few months ago back, and she was raving about you too. She was like, oh my God, you have to talk to Victoria. She's so cool. And everything. I'm like, yeah, she's on my list.
I love her so much. My God, she's just like another sister.
Mm-hmm. No, she's a sweetheart. I will say, I was when I was looking through your website and stuff like that, I came across your bio, and I love how it's written. I mean, you just told us you're married and you have the 2 kids and everything, but then the author came out for your bio and says, she lives in a galaxy known as Southern California. There she finds the love and life sustained power of one amazing sun, 2 unique and awe-inspiring planets, and 4 indifferent yet comfortable moons. I'm like, oh, that is so cute.
Yeah. You can kind of tell, obviously, I hope you can tell who those things are.
Yes, I figured.
My husband, the planets are my kids, and the indifferent moons are those bastard cats.
I was going to say, I was like going, okay, I'm serious pets, but when I saw the indifferent, like cats.
Yep. Yeah. So, you're just trying to be a little different and still have some fun with it. But I've recently been kind of wrestling with changing it, maybe to be a little more serious and people try to squeeze in their accolades in there, and I don't know. So I always like to be just a little different, just one step to the right, a little different.
Yeah, I mean, you want to stay within the viewpoint of the line, but at the same time, have fun.
Well, maybe really close to not be.
Well, I said just in view of it. I didn't say on it.
Yes. Yeah. I can see it from here.
Exactly. And so that's where you get to have your fun. And, but no, I think that's loving and creative, and also kind of gives you a bit of an insight as to who you are, because sometimes, like you said, some of these bios are awesome as far as telling me where they're from, what they've won and everything, but I'm not getting anything out of it except for things I could probably Google myself. But this right there says creatives, free spirits, and actually loves her, the husband and the kids and even the cats that are different. But yay. It was just so cute. I'm like, I got to talk to her about that today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's the Aquarius in me coming out.
Aquarius. I'm a Pisces. Hi.
Yeah. Hi. When you were saying, before we went live, and you were saying something, I thought, are you Aquarius? You might be, but yeah.
I'm
next one after, right? Yeah.
Right afterwards. Yeah. March 3rd.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of close there a little bit, but.
Oh, I'm February 3rd.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Just a month apart.
Yeah.
I love this astrology stuff. I love it. I'm not like, I don't have it all memorized, and I'm not doing people's birth charts and stuff, but I just love reading about it and just seeing, I just find it fascinating. I think it's so accurate.
It is.
I have almost every person in my direct life is a Scorpio, which is hilarious because Scorpio and Aquarius are not supposed to get along. But seriously, Scorps don't get along with anybody. But
funny enough, Scorpios get it's said that they get paired up a lot with, but also get along with Pisces. And like you, I am surrounded by Scorpios. My brother, my grandmother, I have aunts and cousins and significant others and stuff like that. I'm going, and my kid's a Libra, but close to that Scorpion cuff too. And I'm like, you're such a Scorpio. Right. And he's like, stop it. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. Both of my kids are Scorpios, and my husband is.
Are they laid back?
Oh no.
They're well and tight.
No, they're all Scorpios.
Okay, yeah.
And my dad is, my mother-in-law, my sister, my other father-in-law, my grandmother was, my aunt, my one niece. I mean, it's everywhere.
I thought I had it bad, but you win.
Yeah. And then like the only other 3 people, that are like husbands or wives and my son's girlfriend are all Aquarius. Isn't that funny?
It's very interesting. I'm going to have to look into that because usually.
So if you read that book, Love Signs, she says that Scorpio and Aquarius, if they get together, it's like a bloodbath, or it is off the charts amazing. So I just think we all must be off the charts amazing, because here we are, and nobody is, gone to the ER yet.
Right. And 27 years of being together still. Right. That's awesome. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I should have asked you before we started if cursing is allowed, cussing, because I end up cussing a lot.
Me too.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, this is the military, so it just comes flying out.
Yeah, see, I was not in the military, but did ROTC for all 4 years of high school. But I grew up not cursing. My mom was like, "You do not curse." It was always about using different words to express themselves. And then I met my, at the time, best friend in high school, and she taught me everything.
Oh, yeah.
And ever since then, I use fuck as an adjective, verb, pronoun, and noun. So
absolutely. It's a great word.
It is. So yeah. So you are really open to anything.
Expressive. Yeah. Oh yeah. I love the word everyone hates. I love it.
Really?
Oh God, yes. I love that word. And I say it all the time. And some people are like, what? They get all like funny in the face. I'm like, it's okay. It's just a word. We're moving on. You're going to be fine. But it can be so dirty and hot and sexy. And I get in reviews all the time. It was fine until she said that C word. And I'm like, I just laugh.
She just did the evil laugh because she's like, I know.
I know. Wasn't it hot? Jesus. Jesus.
It is interesting how we tend to have particular feelings for certain words and also who can say them. There's sometimes I've seen reviews that if the heroine says it, they're like, oh no, it should not be. But if he says it, especially in the middle of an act, everything's okay. And I'm like, it's the same fucking word, people. Who cares who's saying it?
If he has the like Joe Arden growly voice going on, say anything he wants. She says, fuck. I mean, God.
Yeah. Jason Clark.
Someone said something the other day and I'm like, only if I can have his babies. No, it was just funny. Like, no, okay. Anyway, I didn't say that out loud.
No, these narrators really projects a particular type of, persona online and in the books and things like that. And I know sometimes they like to play with it on social media, but it's amazing how we as human beings can do the audio thing and just get almost like a crush thingy going on
it's totally making it up in your head like what something is or isn't, and it's probably way off the mark. It's way off. Like I've met a couple of the guys and girls in person, and like the other day I was listening to one of your podcasts. I mean, I dug in, and it was Jason Clark, and he did the whole Secrets of Stone series for Angel and I, and so that he was actually like my introduction to audiobooks. I had never listened to an audiobook until I listened to my own, and it was Jason Clark. So talk about setting the bar really high.
Yeah. Great pop cherry.
I know. And I guess I'm embarrassed to say I didn't even know who he was when we contracted him to do this series. But I knew I loved the way he sounded, and so he was with Brickyard. Is that what it is? Brickyard, right?
I think so. I think it's Brickyard.
It was like the, this core group of actors / narrators at Brilliance. And so it was like their house band. We had a house band that was them. And so that's how we got him to do this series. So God, and it was so good. So good. But anyway, so I was listening to you talking to him, and he sounded like he was crawling out of his skin. It seems like he's probably bright red, embarrassed, like, and talk about all the women are going crazy and they love him and, this and that. And he's like, oh, that's so nice. Thank you. He's just like, please shut up. Shut up. You can just hear it.
I know. It's one of those things. He is so sweet and so polite. And it's also, again, it's that whole persona thing. Oh my God. Yes. So humble. He is definitely one that I would want to hang out with him and shoot the shit and play video games with or whatever. And just relax and go explore.
Apparently strum a guitar. Yeah.
Yes. He's very talented. And I think too, that we live in a world where, because we have these imagination as far as what their personas could be, a lot of the guys and the girls are very shy or introverts, just like you guys as authors. Right. Most of them are, most of you are introverts. But then again,
but yes, you're right.
But also we're literally saying, oh my God, you sound so fucking hot. Like, how do they react to that? There's some people that will bust out with, yes, I know. But then
you should see me.
In some cases, no, babe. In other cases, I know, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's okay, we're good. And in other cases, it's just one of those, like, they're like, oh, thanks. And that's where he falls into that humble list, which is one of the many reasons why I love and adore him and will always try to cast him in books, because I know that his work ethic is great, that he'll bring the books to life the way that the author envisions. So he's someone awesome to work with. I know many people got to meet him recently in an event. So everybody was like, oh my God, he's so sweet. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is a great way to come into audiobooks, is via a Jason Clark book.
Right.
Because it's solid performance. But yeah, totally. So I was going to ask how you came into doing your audiobooks. Was it something that you and Angel decided to look into, or was it because one of the two of you was more into audiobooks? I know that you hadn't, you just shared that you hadn't, but how did you guys decide to make your titles into audio?
Well, that was something when so Angel got, I guess, scouted kind of by Waterhouse to do her superhero series. First, it was the Misadventures. She did Misadventures with a superhero, and that was, the character's name was Bolt. That was his superhero name, and they liked what she did with the Misadventure, and then proposed to her that she turn it into a series. And, of course, with Marvel and everything going on with the superhero genre, it seemed like, and Angel has always had this passion to turn a superhero into a romance novel. Like, meet these two together. The guys in the house love these movies with these superheroes, and a lot of the women do too. But their girlfriends want to see the guys live happily ever after with the girl. Yeah. Instead of the fade to black, they want to see these superheroes in bed, And so that was her thing. She wanted to write that. And so Waterhouse gave her that opportunity to do that. And so she pitched them, the superheroes romance thing. Mm-hmm. And then after they took that on, they said, we want your whole backlist. And of course, her backlist included our project, Secrets of Stone, which is, for people that don't know that are listening, it's a billionaire CEO. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's pretty much that. There's it's slated to be 12 books total. Right now, there's 9 completed. There's 2 books per couple. They do stand alone, but it is like a serial. So they're best read in order and the whole series together, because it would make sense if you picked up any one of them. They're, you know what I mean? They're self-contained stories, but it's more enjoyable to read them all together because you get to meet characters, and then you get to revisit characters that you met before. And, so it's world building is like that and character development. Those are like my big things as far as writing. That's what I love to do. It's my thing. So that's what we've been trying to do with Secrets of Stone, and of course now with Shark too. So I totally went off on a tangent now, so I don't even know what the hell I was talking about.
No, you're talking about something. So the approach.
Oh, how did we get to audio? Yeah. So then when we weren't in the indie pocketbook anymore, Waterhouse said, let's get these on audio. And do you have any idea about narrators? And so we just went through that process where you audition narrators, and it's very difficult because they all sound really good, and they just all sound good. And then they all start sounding the same. And, Angel had some experience with the ones that she had already done, but none of those were fitting. Like Aiden Snow does her Honor Bound. Mm-hmm. And he's great for that, but he was not what I wanted to hear. And I'm trying to think who does Bolt.
Halter Graham.
Halter Graham. Yeah. And again, it just wasn't what I was hoping to hear. And then, so we narrowed it down. They said, just give us 3 guys and 3 girls, and we'll do our best to get one of them. We got Jason, and then we did not get any of the girls that we chose, and we just got someone that they picked. So, and there we are. So, and then when they came back, I was like, oh boy, because I had never listened to an audiobook before, and I thought the best way to approach it was a book that I already knew very well and was near to my heart, because I wouldn't be as invested in the story as I would be the performance. And I think it was a good approach, at least for me and the way my brain works. That was a good way to go at it.
No, yeah. I mean, I know sometimes you guys as authors don't want to hear the book because it's a little awkward, or you're, again, the super hypercritical self of why did I say that versus this? Yeah. Did you find yourself just engrossed in the story because of their performance, or were you also then going, oh, I can't believe I wrote that? I mean, how was that to listen?
Mostly I'm like, God damn, that's good. I don't know. I'm like, I'm happy with it. You know, by that point, you've read it, you've looked at it, you've read it again, you've edited it. And with Secrets of Stone, we released those books, the first 6 as indie authors, Angel and I. Mm-hmm. Then we sold the series to a small boutique house in London called Totally Bound. And then, you know, just the relationship there, we just weren't really going in the direction we were hoping to go. Mm-hmm. So we were able to get out of that contract and very soon after sell it to Waterhouse. And so, you know, just making that transition and just being in that position. So it was better.
Yeah. That's great. And again, great introduction into audiobooks, Mr. Jason Clark.
It is just so funny because I had no idea, you know, like the following this guy had, because I was not in the audio world. I had no idea that this was a whole other thing and that people were like fangirling over these narrators the way they were. It was, you know, how when you first come into something new, and you see it and you're kind of like, oh shit, what's going on here? Oh my God. You know, and you just kind of, your eyes are darting back and forth like, I don't know. You know, you feel like that little kid who got dropped off at the birthday party and your mom is driving away faster than you can get back in the car. And you're like, oh God, don't leave me here. You know, but yeah, what an awesome place.
Yeah, there's a lot of great groups out there that are on Facebook, and now there's even some on Discord. There are some of them that are moving over to Clubhouse, and there's so many different things because each group brings something different to that whole original concept of the audiobooks. And even now the narrators have some of their own official fan groups themselves. So
I was going to say the stuff that you're doing with a lot of the guys and girls and having, you know, them have their own fan page, like street teams, like the authors do. It's so good because that was one of the best, but it is still one of the best parts about being an author is my street team page, because I can go in there and feel totally at home with those girls. They're the readers that have been with me from day one, and it's just a solid crew of women. And it, you know, it's a good number of women, but it's like the safe place. And we have all seen each other. I mean, those women basically held my hand through breast cancer 2 years ago, you know, and got through that. And it's just unbelievable.
So the term street team is not really relatively used nowadays anymore. That was definitely something that was used but only like recently, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago up until then. So for those that are listening that don't know what a street team is, it used to be a grassroots back in the 70s and stuff like that, where bands used to have their fans share and distribute pamphlets, paper, you know, advertisements,
out on the street,
where they were going to have the concerts. So the record stores, the restaurants, and just passing them out. And so those were known as street teams. Fast forward into the age of digital, you know, global mobility here. The authors, as well as, I mean, there's the same thing for musicians is still a thing. But now it's done digitally. So you have your bloggers and your reviewers and your, the fans that will post the reviews. And then there's those subgroups that are like the ARC team and then the reader groups themselves. And so your street team, and some authors still use that, or they've converted those into reader groups. Those are still utilized to this day to help with the marketing of the books, regardless of format, whether it's a paperback or ebook and stuff like that. So yeah, you brought back those memories of the street teams. Those were fun.
I haven't aged myself.
Well, not from a 70s group bands and stuff like that. But like I said, like it's only been like, maybe it stopped being a thing. Usually about maybe just 4 years ago. And I was like, that's also kind of how I started as a fan, was being on street teams.
Oh yeah.
You know, and as a blogger. And
you felt like you were the shit, right? I mean, it was like,
I was like,
I was on Lexi Blake's street team. That was the first street team I was on. Lexi. And they sent out swag.
Yep.
Like literal bag of swag. I'm not joking. Like a tote bag. And that was swag in itself. And they, I'm sure it was Chloe Vale, who's still with her now. sent out this letter that said, here's what you need to do as part of our street team. You need to hit the street and you need to go with this stuff. You carry it with you wherever you go. If you're going to get your hair done, you take some things with you. If you're getting your nails done, if you're in the grocery store, you make sure you have this stuff in your purse and you hand it out to anybody who you start talking about books with.
Yeah. Libraries, stuff like that. Yeah.
Lexi, that's what you're doing now. You're going to be out there pimping her stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm on it. I'm going to do that because, you're out there talking about the books anyway. So why not?
It totally works.
Share the love.
Yes. Yeah. I remember helping create one for Elizabeth Naughton. And some of the other ones too. It's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, having to type that list up and just say, just go to the local library, ask permission, and you can drop this stuff off. And now we have all these, mom and pop bookstores, which are so cute and quaint. So that's something else too that we do it. But a lot of things are still done digitally. So having the reviewers and the bloggers and the influencers share that stuff now online is the same thing. So instead of, bookmarkers, now we just have really cute graphics to post on Instagram.
Right. Yeah, or flashy, something that's going to catch somebody's eye.
Yes, definitely flash. You guys have great covers on your books and stuff. So that's something too
Thank you.
That is great for marketing, is having those book covers that stand out and you can tell from a branding perspective, oh, that's a Victoria Bain, Angel book.
It's one of the, for me, least enjoyable parts of writing a book is the cover. I struggle with it every time.
Oh yeah.
The Secrets of Stone ones were awesome. They kind of covered themselves. You know what I mean? Like once we got the concept down, it was easy. Like we'd pick the object in the writing phase. We knew what it would be, and the, onomatopoeia with the sound of the title, that's easy to do too. But Shark has been a lot harder. It's been a lot harder, So
those book covers they're not easy. They're not.
And then to find one guy that has
multiple poses.
3 poses that are usable for a cover. That sounds like, how hard can that be? Oh, you don't even know.
No. I mean,
people that have worked with graphics know, but everyone else that's saying, how hard can that be? Oh, you have to look at pretty boys all day long. Yes. Oh my God.
I had someone have the audacity, and I'm just kidding, but they had like, oh, poor girl, you have to look at how guys online all the time. And I'm like, listen, child. It's called a rabbit hole for a reason. You will spend hours trying to find someone. And then also, if you find someone close, can you then adjust the coloring of a background or the hair color and stuff like that, depending on your graphic designer? It goes all this stuff, that little nuances. Because 3 hours later, all you know is how to make a pipe bomb and not how to fix that graphic because you don't even know what you've been reading. Yeah, you're going, fuck it.
Shit. There's 3 hours I can't get back.
Yeah, I know. But especially when you're writing about billionaires, that's also you're looking for like suit guy. And all of a sudden you're like
stuff that I've had to look up. It's crazy. We had the main character, Sebastian Shark. His last name is Shark. That's where the Shark's Edge thing came from. But he had a woman die in his backyard swimming pool because someone put piranhas in it, his swimming pool. And of course they ate her. And piranhas don't typically attack humans. That's a myth, but they chum the water with human blood and they scented it and then they attacked her because they will do that. But I mean, I spent probably 9 hours researching piranhas and, their habits and what they will do and won't do. I'm like, oh, just ask me. I know. Just ask me about piranhas. This is going to be my next party trick. Who wants to know about piranhas?
Well, there's going to be that reader out there that loves marine biology or biology and stuff like that and is an expert in piranhas.
Dear Victoria Blue, in page 25, paragraph 2, line 13, you were wrong. Okay, thank you. Bye. No, they don't say thank you. Bye. No.
they will ding
You're
you
right.
on the review too. So I, as a listener reader, appreciate it when the author does the research, and it because it could be anything, whether you write historicals and you use the wrong type of corset,
Right.
or the type of material. In your cases, piranhas, but also billionaire, kind of thing. It's like, it's
You're right.
Yeah. The same thing, like going back a little bit to the covers, when your character is described as brunette or dark haired and your cover model is blonde, that's a pet peeve of mine. I'm like, dude,
it's really bad.
Yeah.
So this is where the frustration of it being out of my hands, you know what I mean? There is a level of control I don't have when you're not an indie author.
Mm-hmm.
It only goes up to, a certain percent of control. And then the rest of it, which is much greater, is not up to me.
Yeah.
And so you're sitting there like, oh God, like, rocking in the corner. I can't do this. I can't. Oh my God, the emails I'm going to get. Why are you doing this? It can be very daunting.
Yes.
Very daunting, but
But no,
I think it's just like building my character. That's what I tell myself. Building character.
Yeah, growing the thicker skin. But it goes the same thing like when you're casting the narrators. At least, you were provided with some options, or sometimes that you guys don't even know who it is until it's announced on Audible, unfortunately. Yeah, I would. Yeah, no, that to me would be like, no, because it's the narrator can make or break the book. Doesn't matter how good that book is, the narrator can totally bomb it for you. And so
absolutely.
But you guys have had some really good narrators and stuff like that, from Jason Clark to,
and then, we had Jacob Morgan and Aaron Mallon and Therese Plummer and,
Teddy Hamilton. Yeah.
Yeah. Now Teddy, oh my God, he knocked those out of the park. So that just came out. And so I've spent like 2 weeks just end to end listening to that same book. I was so happy because that was just a hard thing for me, because switching narrators in the middle of a series.
Oh yes. That's like the worst nightmare. Brutal. Yeah.
But I got cancer. And there you have it. And I dropped out of the rotation for Zach. And then I couldn't get back in. He's so busy.
Yeah.
And no fault of his, no fault of mine. That was, stupid cancer, and at least I'm alive to listen to my audiobooks still.
Yeah, it's grand scheme of things, girl. Priority.
Very, very thankful.
Yeah, because that's no joke. I mean, I know that, and you're talking about it very light and stuff like that now that you've passed it, but it's also something too that never really goes away, because you might check up again and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then it impacts so many different aspects of your life, and sometimes the listeners don't. And the readers sometimes don't understand, like, why isn't she writing? Well, because currently she's doing some, she's going through some medical stuff. Back off.
In the beginning, I went about 2 months without telling the readers, because I needed to get all my ducks in a row. And of course, it's so overwhelming when you're first diagnosed. And I just needed to have a plan in place and have a surgery date and have everything just lined up. So when I did finally tell everyone, I had a plan in place. Here's what's going on. Here's what I plan to do about it. Here's what I expect the recovery time to be. Here's my plan as far as writing. Just have it all laid out so people could have the facts. None of it just wasn't going to be, I don't know what's going to happen. And then, and then people would be left to wonder or try to contact me or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Because, we care about you guys as authors, and some of us has developed relationships with you guys. So the next step when you give me a vague post, is
to keep checking back up.
Just to say, hey, are you okay? How can I help? What's going on? And so,
the care and generosity and, oh my gosh, the outpouring was unbelievable. People, it was just unbelievable. I would never have expected any of that. It just blew my mind. When you were saying earlier about blankets, you would not believe how many blankets I received during that time. I guess when people go through chemo,
yeah,
blankets is a big thing. I was very fortunate, and I had to do radiation, but I didn't have to do chemo. And I have so many blankets. I'm like, why is everyone sending me blankets? But it took me a little while for, either to realize what was going on with the blankets, or someone finally told me, oh, you're not doing chemo, right? And that's why you don't understand with the blankets. But the softest blankets.
Yeah. My mom, when she was doing dialysis, I realized how much those blankets, because those rooms are cold.
They're cold, and you're just sick. Something soft.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
because your skin hurts, everything hurts.
Yeah. And so, it's definitely something that a lot of us take for granted.
Yeah.
When we're healthy, to read things like, like the blankets or the comfy socks or the hats that keep us warm. We tend to think of the fashion sense to some cases, but in some cases it's part of regimen of dealing with treatment. And it's really great community that we are in. Like with anything, we have our bad apples, but which are always sometimes very creative and fun to hang around with sometimes. But we do have such a good, caring community that will step up and, help out in any case, from, auctions to just, food rounds and stuff like that, depending on what the author and the individual needs and wants. So it's a very good group of people in the end. So that's always good. I'm glad that you're doing well.
Thank you. I am very happy to say that. October was 2 years since my diagnosis, and then April will be, it goes like that. So 6 months after that would be after the radiation, and then August will be 2 years from post-op completely. So it took a while, it takes,
it's a process.
Yeah, definitely like a whole year process from start to finish, but they don't mess around. Once you get that diagnosis, it was almost to the day 2 months from diagnosis to bilateral mastectomy.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, they got to get it quick. That way you guys can stick with us, and
here. I was like, get them off. They're just troublemakers now. Get rid of them.
Yeah.
And I got a new pair. So there you go. It's cool. I never ever thought, I was never a girl that wanted, a boob job. And now I have it. And I'm like, I like these. And my one cat loves them. He just loves them. He's rubbing on them all the time because they're really, they're kind of hard, Oh, he thinks they're the best thing ever. He's so funny. It's the hairless one. I have a hairless cat. And
it's interesting how our pets react to our bodies differently, as far as they know that something's up, or they feel
that wasn't there
different.
Before.
Oh, bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. And stop.
So funny.
But they're adorable too. But I mean, so this is also where it goes back to, as a listener and a reader, we love to get the books, and then we're constantly devouring them, and we do them so quickly, but it takes months for you guys to write the the book, and then production, if it's an audiobook, and then all the other stuff that goes along with it. It takes a lot of time. So I always
process.
Yeah, it's definitely a process. How do you guys go about, what does that writing process look like for the two of you as a co-author couple?
It is like a marriage a lot of times. In the way beginning, when we first started writing together, I had never written anything in my life, nothing. And so it was a lot of mentoring and, her really showing me the way, how things, stories are told in the best way. And I read a lot so I could see, what appealed to me, and certainly not copied, but, kind of used authors that I loved as role models. Like, this is a good story. This is a good way to do this. And so we took turns. Like, she wrote the male character and I wrote the female. So every other chapter. And so she would write a chapter, and then it was just in a Word document. And then she would send it to me, or we used a Dropbox. And then she would let me know she was done with it. And then I would go in, read what she wrote, And then I would add to it. I would add the next chapter in the female's point of view. And then, back and forth till we had the whole book done. And then, when we got the other person's chapter added on, you have to go back and read and see how it went and what you're building on. And then if you had any suggestions or changes or whatever, that would be the time to make them. So yeah, that process wasn't always easy for me because I was brand new at it. So I was like sensitive. This is, you go through the whole, I know authors that are multiple times over New York Times and that imposter syndrome you hear about.
Oh yeah.
And, so it's so hard to like, oh my God, is anything that I write good enough or is not, you know what I mean? And it's hard. It's just, it's hard. I wasn't trained in university to be a writer and you know what I mean? It just definitely that can get to your ego and confidence pretty quickly, but it never stopped being fun. So I always went back for more. And then when we got to the 5th book in Secrets of Stone, that's when Angel started writing Bolt with Waterhouse. And so we changed up our style of writing Secrets of Stone, where I was writing the whole book, the entire first draft of it, all the characters. And then she would go through when I was done and add her voice into it. If that makes sense, because I couldn't wait on her to add a chapter because she was on deadline with a whole other series. And so I worked on Secrets of Stone. She was working on Bolt, and then she would come in and add her stuff to what I wrote. And my writing was getting better and better and better. I mean, now we're on the 5th book. So I didn't need as much hand holding, as I did in the way beginning. And then by the 5th book, us taking turns with characters wasn't going to work anymore because it's a menage. So, someone was going to have 2 characters and one person was only going to have one. And that first book of the menage is called No Lucky Number. It came out in anthology that we did with a bunch of girls. It was the year that RT was in Vegas.
Ah, yeah. I remember
and it was
that one.
called One Night in Vegas. The anthology, and everyone that was involved in it did a story of like some of their best known characters from their books in that. And they were all supposedly in this hotel called The Night at the same time. So they were kind of crossing paths with each other. All of our characters were crossing paths with each other. It was a great concept. And originally we're thinking we were going to do this like every year, depending on where RT was held. So it was really going to be like an RT anthology.
Aww.
But then RT folded. Yeah. And so, but it was a great idea. It was Sierra Cartwright and me and Angel and Jenna Jacob and Red Phoenix and Mary Carr.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think if there was anyone else, but I think that was all of us. And then I think we only kept it on the market for like 6 months. It's really get it now, it's going to be gone. And then we absorbed those stories back into our worlds because they were, our like popular characters. So
is that novella that you guys wrote for that anthology available now somewhere at all?
Yeah. Waterhouse had me turn it into a full-length novel, which I was just talking to Jenna Jacob because she was my mystery author over the weekend. And I said, have you done that? Have you had to turn a novella into a novel? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, it's the worst, right? It's so hard. It is so hard to do because I did that with No Lucky Number, but by then I had already written like 2 books after it. So it was like landlocked in between there, in time and space, it was stuck. And so all I could do was dream sequences and backstory. Because I was stuck there in time. There was nowhere to go. And oh my gosh, it was so hard. It was so hard.
Things you learn not to do again, right?
Exactly. Next time the publisher says, how do you feel about? No. You say no. You don't say whatever you need me to do. I will do it.
Yeah. Yep. It's the stuff that you learn as you go through, the whole ups and downs of the career as far as the author or whatever it is that you do. Yeah. And, because you do want to make sure that, your publishers are happy, that your co-writer's happy, but there's some times that you like, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough, hands to do it all. Or in your case, being stuck between books and stuff like that. It's a difficult scenario. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned your because you have a podcast too. So tell us about that.
So it's not a podcast per se. Okay. I do it. I broadcast it live I do it on Facebook currently, but I need to move it to Instagram. And it's funny, the reason why I don't move it to Instagram, my PA, Megan, she is like the moderator of it. And she sets up the month before, whenever she actually gets a hold of the person. I don't really know how this part goes because I don't know about it. She finds an author that will come on this live chat with me. And it's a mystery. I don't know who it is that is going to come talk to me. And literally, I don't know. It's not, we're not just saying that. And I really do know. It's a surprise every month when they show up on my screen. And then I talk to them for an hour.
Oh my God.
Which is bullshit. And it's so much fun. And I had the idea one day. It's so weird. I just had this idea. I was talking to Geneva, mm-hmm. and she was having a new book come out, and I had her on, and it was, we just had a good time. And I had met her a few times before, but I didn't really know her very well. And her baby was like a year old, and we were talking about baby. I mean, we were all over the place, like conversations with me tend to be. Mm-hmm. But we had such a good time, and that hour was done so fast, and we never even talked about her book. I'm like, oh my gosh, tell us about your book. But we just had a good time because it was like the first couple of months of COVID, and how those first couple of months it was bad because it was so new, and we just weren't adjusted yet to that life, and so we talked about the book, and, it gave me that idea, like, I should do this more, like mm-hmm. a regular thing. And so we do it on Zoom, and it broadcasts on Facebook, and you cannot do that with a third person, I guess, on what the hell is it called? Instagram. Because Megan watches the feed the whole time, mm-hmm. and then relays questions to us that people are asking, because it's very difficult for me to watch comments while I'm doing a live. Oh yeah, no, I'm kind of like distracting. ADHD, and I can't do it. Mm-hmm. I'll never get a full sentence out of my mouth. It won't happen.
No, it's daunting because as a watcher of one of the, either doing on Instagram or Facebook, the comments are flying by. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes the technology on your end, on your dashboards, as the ones recording this thing, it's glitchy. It's not going as fast as it is on other people's ends. And then you're going there's a bit of a delay. And so there's so many different factors. And so, it's good that you have someone there to help you out with that, because otherwise it is, Instagram, I think, will be catching up soon to be able to do more live chats with more people, just because it seems like that's where people want to take it.
Right.
Yeah.
But God forbid you have a technical difficulty.
Yeah. I hear you.
People are like, I can't see it. It's frozen. I know. I am trying. I'm trying.
Yeah. It's like, I'm trying my best. Yeah. And the intent, they just get so excited, and I love that.
I know.
And everything. But at the same time, I'm going, you're just giving me more stress.
I don't want to let you down. Please. I'm not begging you.
Oh God. Every single time I've done a live and I've hosted it for the authors or the narrators, it's almost like I have a moment with my devices and saying, okay, guys, you're going to behave, right? You're going to be good. Because I do not want to be that girl that freezes in the middle of a conversation and it's all Vivi's fault. And no, let's not do this.
We have like a joke, Angel and I, because typically when we have a release day, we do a live together. Mm-hmm. And then COVID happened, and we didn't have that many releases, I don't think, during COVID anyway, because again, I just, had the cancer and COVID came right back to back. But every time we have tried to do a live, probably the last 5 times, something went wrong. And we either couldn't do it or we had to switch profiles or channels or whatever. And all we could do was hope that the people were following us. Every time it crashed and we typed in, we're going to Angel's profile, try us there. And we'd go over there and try to post it there.
Dream hopping.
That people followed us to go watch it, you know?
Yeah.
And the diehard fans did, you know, but each time you could see we're losing numbers.
It sucked. Yeah. So there's a couple of things I'll connect with you guys afterwards off air to give you some ideas and suggestions for other things that you guys can use to help out that I've noticed helps with the streaming, especially when there's
StreamYard.
StreamYard's definitely what I was going to suggest. And it's really good because you can have more than 2 people. And so that helps out from that perspective. I need to double check if they're doing stuff with Instagram, but Instagram is so locked down because they don't like third party anything. But yeah, we'll figure it out. But your live that you do, so you have no clue who you're talking to until you
they come on. We do it all. It's on video,
right?
And anybody can go see those videos. Are on my Facebook profile on Victoria Blue, not on my author page on Facebook, but on my actual profile. You know, in the videos, you can see photos and videos and whatever. They're all in there. So we've been doing it. August was a year.
Wow.
So September, October, November. So I've been doing it now for 15 months. So yeah, it's a good time.
You're going to get your assistant to do a narrator.
Oh, I know. No, you know what? Erin Mallon was my 2nd or 3rd guest ever.
Okay, cool. She's awesome.
But I had, they were asking me for a list of authors, you know, that they could contact, just helping them out with some names. And then I didn't put any of the narrators down. And my one assistant is a heavy listener like I am. And she's like, well, and there's no, where's Connor? Where's Joe? Why are you not putting their names on here? I'm like, oh my God, I would die 1,000 deaths. I could not do that.
Okay.
I would die.
Well, the good news with both Connor and Joe is that they wouldn't be technically on camera because they don't do videos. So you would have at least a little bit of a whoosh. You know, Joe does more of the ski mask kind of a thing or mask lately, but
oh my God, the one he wore the other day.
I know. I was like, dude,
Aaron, I was laughing.
Yeah.
That was such a great interview though.
Yeah. He's a good cat.
He's so smart.
Yep.
He just sounds so smart. I love a smart guy.
Yeah. There's nothing sexier than when they're smart. When they smell good and they're smart. Oh, those are the 2 things. Bonus is they do dishes and vacuum without you telling them what to do.
Oh, I'm thinking if they do other things, but you can go with vacuum and dishes.
Well, yeah. Well, the other stuff is a given. But
Victoria.
There's nothing and I've done that with friends too, that I'm going when I'm like done a Zoom or something and they're like, hold on a minute. And then they're doing like, are you vacuuming? And they're like, yeah. And I'm going, yes, babe. You know, and they're like, Viv. I'm like, what? No one said anything to you. No one guilted you into doing it. That is fucking sexy.
House chores turn me on.
Yes. It's, you know, but I've, you know, going back to the guys and stuff like that. The girls are always great. You know, the narrators, Erin Mallon, Emma Wild. There's another one that's really fun and funny. And oh my God, there's so many out there that are gold crushing stuff like that. But what hit me the most was when you and I were talking, and then I'm like, so, hey, have you heard about this guy? And you're like, which one, Viv? I'm like, oh, sorry, that's right, guys. And I'm like, Connor Craze. And you're like, oh, hello, Connor.
Well, I was like, you know, I get in these weird little moods and I, you know, start acting out. And you're like, someone likes Connor, huh? And I'm like, oh, it's just a little
bit. Yeah.
I'll go in spurts, you know, where if you listen to a series or you listen to something and then that's what you're hearing back to back to back to back. And you're like, I am taking you home with me. I don't care. Now it's over.
You're mine.
Mine. Yeah. Mine.
Yeah.
So, that had just happened and I don't know what I was listening to at the time.
I think it was, I don't think you had listened to anything yet. I think it was one of those you were looking to listen to something, and then someone
that Jewel E. Ann book, I had listened to that one.
Yeah.
It tore me apart. And of course, I know the difference that it's the author's words and they're delivering them. And so that woman wrote an amazing book.
Mm-hmm.
It was just incredibly good.
Yeah.
Heart-wrenching. God, It was good. But I remember hearing him, and see, I went back and listened to that interview that you sent me the link to.
Yes.
And it was Connor. It was him saying that.
Yeah.
That's what made me go get that book.
Yes.
When
that's
he
what it was.
said that it was that hard for him to record that he had to stop and go hug his kids.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh my God, what is this book? I mean, if it's moving the narrator to that point, because how many stories do they read? Seriously, Joe said the other day he's doing over 100 a year.
Yeah, it's a high volume.
How do they even know what they said?
Yeah.
Honestly, I read stuff sometimes that I wrote, and I'm like, who is messing with my computer? Who wrote this? You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know that I wrote it.
Yeah.
It's just, you go to a weird head place, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so
that's how that was.
Imagine what it's like for them.
Yeah, that's how it was. I think that you guys were looking into getting new narrators and stuff for your books. And I'm like, hey, have you listened to here's a link to the interview that I did with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're so going, good. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm like, another one bites the dust.
Yeah. And then Joe, I was listening to a whole series. Oh, I went like crazy obsessed with CD Reese I listened to her entire backlist. I listened to them all. I went nuts. And Joe did a series with, I'm trying to think of who the female was. It was the Edge series. It's like a psychological thriller.
Oh, I think that's Maxine Mitchell. Hold on, The Edge.
Yes, CD, I think you're right.
CD Reese. Let me just double check. That's while we are talking. Yes, it is with Maxine Mitchell. Yes.
And it's good. It's a departure from her normal. So it definitely still has hot, dirty sex in it, but it's a head game. And Joe does head game really good.
Yeah. He's very talented. I still remember, like, sometimes people say, what's the first audiobook from a certain narrator? And a lot of times, like, do you have any idea how many books I've listened? But from Joe, I remember specifically it was Cake by J. Bankston. And it was just the emotional roller coaster of that character and how he brought it to life was how I'm like, hello, Joe, you know? And to me,
listen to that.
Yeah, to me, that is on a performance level. I know that a lot of people are in it for the sexy stuff or the things that come out of their mouth. But for me, I need to have the substance, and that's the in-betweens. And when they can provide that emotion, like Jason's phenomenal at that.
Oh yeah.
At bringing that
when
emotion.
You stop what you're doing and you just listen. Like my husband will go, what's wrong? You okay? And I just point to my ear. Just point to my earbud, or I tap it, like listening. Listening. Yeah. He knows that I'm just obsessed with audiobooks. He was an avid reader when I met him. He just read and read and read, and I didn't. And so it was like a new, rediscovery of mine after, the kids got old enough to entertain themselves a little bit so I could have some time to myself. And he was so happy. I'm so glad you discovered reading. And little did he know I would become a writer. But
and now into audiobooks. So this is lovely.
Yeah. So funny. But he listens to audio too now because, as we're getting older, our eyes are getting so bad. And the cancer medicine I'm taking has destroyed my vision, which is awful, but it keeps the cancer away. Yeah. And I work with numbers all day long. So my eyes are so tired at the end of the day.
Yeah. But it allows the audiobooks allow you to do other things. And it's just a different way to absorb the story. But yeah, it was so funny when you started going into your cute phase with Connor. And and to see it, because again, I live and breathe this stuff as far as work and as a listener, as a blogger and everything. And sometimes I still do get oh my god moments for things, but I technically for that real thing, it's like vicariously through you guys when it's a listener or a reader that discovers a new voice. I'm like, oh my god, that is so cute. And
there's another one.
Yeah. and literally I'm going, oh, Michelle, another one has bit in the dust and fallen and has become a cutie.
Oh, his voice, it's so good. It's not like, it just, none of them actually that we're talking about are run of the mill. They're all like unique. They have something unique about them. I was listening to Teddy the other day, and I was mimicking what I was doing his bit. Like, what is it about him? And I figured it out,
Ooh,
so
do
then
tell.
I was delivering everything the way he does. He says the last word with a lot of strength on it. Like, the fan on the desk, and it's the last word, and you have to, that last word has to come out stronger. And, of course his voice sounds way better. He doesn't sound like,
Teddy definitely has
easily.
Teddy definitely has, they all have a cadence. And
yes,
that's
definitely
what
but their own.
But they're individually. And then you add a flair to it. Like for Teddy, his flair for me, it's almost like a California vibe.
He's so laid back. Yes. He just sounds so laid back. I talk like I know any of them, but what, I'm just living in a fucking fantasy. Just don't wreck it, Viv. Don't do it.
No, I'm not wrecking it. I'm just saying that for me, that's kind of how like Teddy has that bit of that relaxed dude. Everything's going to be okay. Just come over here. I'll take care of you. Yeah. Kind of a thing. Jason runs the gamut because he's done that cool and also the more wound up and things like that. I think his range is phenomenal. Joe, the same thing, cadence and being able to do that lower register. And then just
his is like gruff. He definitely has the growly thing, but it's by nature, not like he's trying so hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, Joe's is it's just there.
Yeah.
Like, that's his voice.
Too. Yeah. Jason's natural growl and lower register.
I have no longer lost. And that whole series, like I said, is Jason Clarke, but no longer lost. He comes in, obviously I know this by heart because I've listened to him so much. Chapter 4, when he comes on, your panties fall off on their own.
Yep.
You might be the next Virgin Mary. You just get pregnant right there. I don't know. It's crazy to hear his voice in that chapter. I don't know what he had to have been doing it intentionally, because that character he does really low the whole time. But that start of that chapter is ridiculous. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I don't even.
Yep. And Jacob's similar too. Jacob has such a good cadence and range as well. So there's a lot of narrators out there. And I know that sometimes people tend to focus on almost like the publishing houses should be the top 5, right? The big houses. So these are, but there's so many other ones out there.
Oh, there are so many.
Oh my God.
So good.
Like Lance Greenfield, if you have not heard him, you need to. Marcio Catalano is another one that I've been discovering and getting to know better and stuff like that. There's so many more. And Zachary Johnson, by the way. Oh my God.
Zachary Johnson.
Oh my God. So range, growliness, accent work is phenomenal. And his register is on that mid to lower. So he can do that deeper growl. Need to, but also so again, do the differentiations of the tone. And if you like a British accent, it is Mr. John Hartley. And that man.
I'm listening to a book right now that Jacob Morgan is narrating. He has Irish. This is crazy. Irish, New Orleans, Boston, and just, straight up American, all in the same book. He's doing it in one scene. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Not all of them can do that,
It's nuts. It's freaking nuts.
Nuts, yeah. John Hartley's like that. I have to send you the interview that I did with him, because he literally in a sentence was busting out with different accents along the lines, and I'm going, fuck. And from someone that's British to then go into an American accent,
it's crazy.
I was like,
it's crazy.
Well, I discovered him through a Kristen Ashley book that is a fantasy of hers that she does as a spin-off of one of her other fantasy lands. And I was so crushing on these two characters because these dudes were great. Performance, delivery, and everything. Fast forward, it's the same one fucking narrator. And I'm going, who is that? And she's like, it's John Hartley. And I'm like, okay, come here, John. I'm keeping you. So yeah,
I had I love Alexander Sandis. I love his voice.
He has a great voice, but his cadence too sometimes. It's
for me, his female voice is off, but his male voice, because he does Pharaoh in the Like Us series for Krista and Becca Ritchie. And I was just like, that's it. I love him.
Yeah,
I love him.
He's a nice guy too. Very sweet.
Yeah. And his wife is a narrator too.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Yep. It was interesting when you find out some of these tidbits and you're going, hey, cool. Yeah. So it's always fun. But it goes back to that whole, like, we just literally just had a fangirl moment of going and like, have you checked this one out? Hey,
I know. I could do this for hours. But it's just like this, it's a passion, it's a hobby, it's a pseudo career, it's all these things for me. So I
love helping authors cast because of the fact that I get to talk to you guys about your characters. And then getting those information about, like, do they have a lisp or do they have this and that and their personality? And I'm going, okay, so that would be Jason Clark would fit the bill, or Connor, or, now Marcio or Zachary Johnson. Those are kind of go through stages. Like
and just please put me in a room with Christian Fox for a couple.
He is a sweetheart, funny, sarcastic. Oh my God.
His freaking voice.
Yes.
It's like silk. My God.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see if he could take Jacob's place when this all went down. And
his schedule.
He is in a contract apparently elsewhere. So I was like, oh, good for him. I mean, bravo, right? That's what everyone wants. So that's awesome.
You're happy for them, but at the same time, you're going, fuck.
Damn it. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. He is definitely one, though, that is sought after. It's interesting, too. Nothing like having that light bulb moment of having both Christian Fox and Lucy Rivers on your show to realize as you're going through their catalog real quick to do something, and you realize that one of the books that first got you back into audiobooks was something that they first did together for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, that was you guys? And the names just never clicked. And they're like, you listen. I'm like, so that was an entire fun moment for me. But I was like, wow, to kind of fast forward. And I'm like, I'm talking to you guys. It's so cool.
It all came around again.
It does. Yeah. It's a small world with lots of fun and all these individuals. And there's just so many more up and coming narrators that are coming up the pipeline. And there are some that are jumping from that have always done like sci-fi or thrillers and murder mysteries are now sometimes jumping into doing romance just to do something different. And sometimes they come up with new names. Sometimes they just stick with it. So that's always a little fun like game of who are you really? Please have a website. Please have a website with your information so we can contact you. PSA moments.
Me or them?
Them. Because I mean, you find a voice, you Google and you can't find anything, and you're going, "Who the hell is this Connor Craig?" Thankfully, he does have a website. Right. But a lot of times you're like, oh, "How the hell am I supposed to contact him for a book?" But it's a fun gig. I love how you've been, things have been cast for your books, and your stories have been great. So great combination there.
It's a good gig. It really is. I mean, you think about doing this job and it's just happiness. You're making people happy that get to read. I am happy writing it. It's all happiness.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good gig.
Yeah. So besides being the CFO of the small business that you and your hubby own and the CEO of your, writing empire kind of thing, when you wife, hubs, kids, doggy, kitty in this case, a mom and all that fun stuff. When you're not working, what do you do for fun?
Well, I work a lot.
Yes.
I work a lot. Our business is ridiculous. It's just kind of crazy what's going on here right now. And I think it has a lot to do with so much stimulus money was pumped into the economy, and so because we're a manufacturer, but it's related to construction industry. So we're just seeing this huge growth. I mean, it's just crazy. We can't keep up, which is a good problem to have. So we're working a lot, but I have a very big passion for cars and driving fast. And So that's a big thing for me, that if I like have an opportunity to just go do something that I want to do, it's either fashion or cars.
Huh.
Yeah.
That sounds
that's like me time. That's outside of family, because it usually is work and then family, because my daughter is 25, but she's severely disabled. Because it doesn't matter what her age is, she is still severely disabled. So she is a full-time job on her own. I have a nurse in my house that takes care of her while I'm working, 8 hours a day, 4 days a week. And then the rest of the time is me taking care of her. So
it's a lot.
Now I've just told you I have 3 full-time jobs. I know you're doing the math. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's a busy schedule.
Yeah. But it's important to make sure that you do have that time for yourself to re-energize and recharge, so you can then turn around and be there for everybody else.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. So aside from the audiobooks and the cars and stuff like that,
there is no more time for that.
Yeah. But it's you find it, you have to figure it out. And
it's little things. It's really finding joy in little things.
Yeah. One of the things also too that I like to ask authors and my guests in general, because even with the narrators, you guys work with words all the time. Do you have a favorite word? Now, granted, it's different than a favorite curse word, so that comes second. So favorite word.
A favorite word. Oh boy. I said it before, but I really do like the word onomatopoeia.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Great. It feels great coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Onomatopoeia. It just makes your bottom jaw go ooh, back and forth. Onomatopoeia. It's great.
Yeah. Awesome. So what about a favorite curse word?
It's cunt. I love it. And just say it 20 times.
Nice.
No.
Yep.
All of your listeners, shut up. God.
It's okay. We're good. It's a word.
You look like a lady, but you're a little pig.
Yeah. No, hey, we all have our words, That's a good one too. And it's funny too, because it's a big deal here in the States, but over in the UK, it's nothing. It's like saying damn.
It's your friend.
Yeah.
Bunch of cunts.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's a good one, by the way. It's a good curse word to use. Definitely, as far as like on that, like if like Viv says that, then you're really pissed, kind of a thing. That's because they throw fuck around all the time, so they can't really. It's
that one
tone.
Is desensitized
a little bit.
It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, unless there's a tone behind it, and they're going, oh boy. But when you're like, oh, stop being
such a sexy tone, like, fuck me. Yeah.
Yeah. But when you're going, fucking cunt, there's like this.
Or fuck my cunt. See?
Yeah, all the things that we
can play with words all night long.
I know, right? But speaking of play and games and stuff like that, something I do love to do with my guests and to get to know them better is to do a 2 truths and a lie, where you, as my guest, tell me, technically us too, for those that are listening, 3 things about yourselves. And we try to figure out which one is the lie. So if you're ready, we can do that.
Okay. I'm ready. So I just say them to you.
Yeah, just give me all 3. And then we have to figure out. And I always say we, because I really like it thinking that the audience is playing along with me. So we will try to figure this out.
All right. My first one is I have touched ground in every one of the 50 states. My second one is I have driven a car on a racetrack. And my third one is I own more than 200 pairs of shoes. That's it. 3.
Oh my goodness. All very plausible.
And disturbing.
But the range is just so everywhere, It's so this is what makes this game fun. And I know sometimes in conversation, some of the stuff will slip through. Like like you had shared how you love the driving of the fast cars and stuff like that, but that does not necessarily mean that you've driven it in a racetrack. So those are those little nuances, or that you love fashion, but 200 or more shoes, really? Yeah, it's just yeah, so all that stuff like that. Or you've touched ground, and that was also very specific, which see how, authors can be sometimes. It's touching ground. Doesn't mean that she was actually there for a length of time. She just the plane landed.
Right. It could be that.
Yeah, exactly, for all 50 states. So I think the lie is let's see, you were in the military, so damn it. Own more than 200 pairs of shoes?
No, that's true.
Oh God. You inventory them? Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's true. All right, guys. Hopefully you're doing better than I am. Touch ground in all 50 states.
That's a lie.
That's the lie. All right.
That's the lie.
Yeah. No, not bad, Vivi. Not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
You narrowed it down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just sometimes the specifics is what also gives you guys away.
Yeah.
And so I'm going, watch her have like 150 or like 190 pairs of shoes instead of 200, which still, damn, woman.
I heard you play this while I was listening to your interview, like I said, with Jason. It was from a while ago, but I heard that you guys playing this and it was like giving me clues on what to say, like how to phrase it.
You did your homework.
I did do my homework. You called it homework, so I took it to heart.
Yes, thank you for that.
A job worth doing is a job worth doing
well.
Right.
Yes, thank you for that. Oh my goodness, this was fun. So you've actually driven a car on a racetrack.
I have.
So was that like one of those things that you can do, like the tours that they do sometimes, or was it like, give us a little bit more info on that one, because that's exciting.
Like my family, my husband and my son and I, we're very big into BMWs, and BMW has a driving school at a racetrack called Thermal outside of Palm Springs in California. And when you buy an M car, you are offered a day at the track with their fleet of M cars, because they have the driving school there. They have a whole fleet of cars and they tour with them around the country, but they have the school there also. And so I got to spend the day out there and put their whole fleet of M cars for that year that I did it, which mine is a 2015. So it was probably 2016. You just put them through your paces. They show you. I had to take a safety course, and then, we did a bunch of different things like the lead and follow, and we did hot laps with a professional driver, which was unbelievable. It was so exhilarating. I mean, oh my God. And we did autocross and we did drag racing. It was just so fun. It was just so fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I love driving fast.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. I've never done it in the racetrack. I may have to do that one day just to,
it's good.
Get it off the list.
Time.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you for playing with me.
Oh, anytime.
Awesome. So before we go, can you tell us what you're currently working on and what's coming up next for you?
Yes, I am currently working on Elijah's Want, and this is part of the Shark's Edge series. It will be book 3, 6, 8 in that series. That series is slated to be 15 books, and so it is romantic suspense, and they are alpha billionaires. On top of it, also are kind of crossing genres. Subgenres, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm writing right now. The one before it is called Elijah's Whim. So each hero gets 3 books in this one. And so that's coming out. Elijah's Whim is coming out December 14th. The ebook is coming out December 14th. They had a big screw up at Simon & Schuster, and they printed the books and the color, something went wrong with the color. It really looks like they didn't put the yellow layer on, because it's a full color cover.
Yeah.
And they didn't, that's what it looks like to me. Just, I have a very dated and small amount of experience in printing, and it looks like they just didn't do the yellow layer.
Oh my goodness.
So instead of him having and we got one of Wander's models on the cover, stunning man named Lucas. And he has this blue jacket on. It's like a blue tuxedo. And instead it looks green on the cover. And the background cover, so the first of the 3 books in Shark is orange. And then it morphs into this darker orange into red. And now Elijah's books are red. And so it's going on the color wheel. It's coming all the way back around at the 15th book. I believe it's going to end at blue. So it's going to morph all the way around the colors of the backgrounds of these books. That's the whole theory behind it. Nice. Why those colors are shifting the way they are. But so think about that. It's a red background. And he has on a green, what looks like a dinner jacket now.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? Now it looks like he's got this fucking velvet smoking jacket.
Yeah, it would.
And it's green with a satin lapel. It's hideous. And even his lips are green.
Oh, boy.
And I have a case of them. So I got my author copies and I opened it up and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I mean, what is this?
Oh my goodness. So I'm looking at the cover for it on Audible because it's slated to release on audio January 11th for Elijah's Whim.
Right.
And it's a great picture. It's a great picture.
That is not going to be available on December 14th either, because there was this makes me very frustrated, but I'm just going to say that and then move forward. It was supposed to come out when the book came out, obviously December 14th, but all of Grant's books, Grant's Flame just came out last week. Grant's Blaze comes out next week.
Yep. The 23rd.
Those got pushed. They were supposed to come out in October, but they got pushed out of October into November. And then everything, you know what I mean? It's like dominoes. Everything gets pushed then behind it because Angel wrote those Grant books with me, and she had 2 other books coming out in October for her Honor Bound series. And the fine folks at Audible said that was too many books with the same author's name on them.
What?
And they wouldn't. So they pushed Shark and they published Honor Bound.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't understand why. They should have done the other way around, because Honor Bound just came out. Grant's books were waiting since March.
Oh my goodness.
They were sitting there waiting. I mean, people are like,
Audible.
When's audio coming out? When's audio coming out? And they fucking pushed them again. I was like, not happy.
Oh, I can imagine.
I had to get over it. I had to just get over it.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that we do have now pre-order links for,
yes,
like
and it's Teddy and Aaron, and I'm telling you, it's so good.
Yeah, for Grant's Blaze.
Such a good job.
They did, yeah. And Teddy returns for Elijah's Whim with J.C. Van Clout.
Yes, and it's formerly known as. I don't know why that's changed. I don't know. But if that's what we are going with now, that's what we're going with.
That's what Audible says. But then again,
yeah,
it 50-50 trash.
Yeah, gave me a little panic though. When I saw it, I was like, wait, what? That's not who that's supposed to be. And I went and listened to that narrator sample. You can tell immediately it is who it's supposed to be.
Okay, good. Yeah.
So if anyone is feeling confused about that, just go listen to a sample. You'll know immediately who it is.
Perfect. Awesome. So we do still have a couple of books coming out that you have that we'll be able to listen to and read and eyeball and then go back in audio and, treasure it all over again. So that's good.
Yes. And that is, that's just till the end of the year. Then we're hitting it hard in 2023. We'll get back out with the people, make some appearances. I have one in February in San Diego. And then I know we have Shameless at the end of the year. And then we also have Vegas.
Nice.
Doing Love in Vegas.
So cool.
In the fall, but I don't know if anything will pop up in between there.
There
between
is
February and the fall.
There is a lore happening in Chicago in September of next year. I will send you the links so you guys can go to that one, because that one's specifically for audiobooks. So you'll be able to connect with some of the narrators.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hint, hint.
That'd be nice. It would be nice to go to that part of the country too, because it's not.
Chicago is gorgeous.
I love Chicago.
Yeah.
My husband's from there.
Yeah. And this one's being specifically, a lore being specifically for audiobooks.
Yeah.
There is a whole bunch of narrators that are going that are they're successful in their own rights, but a lot of them, to me, I'm like, because they do other stuff other than romance, I'm like, ooh, who are you? And I'm like, ooh, I like how you sound. And so it'll be a fun thing to go. So that one, I'll send you the links to it. But that's at September of next year. All right. It's slated to be good. So it'll be fun. So that way, hopefully you guys can go. And I know the one in Vegas is one that I have a tentative on my list to go to. So if I do go, I will let you guys know.
All right.
We can hang out and
yes, for sure.
Yeah, have some fun there, the girls.
I love Vegas. It's a good time.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You can't have a bad time in Vegas.
That is true. I've been there one time, and it was one of those for the RT Book Lovers Convention.
Yes.
And
that con was so brutal.
Yes, that was a hard one. And
it was physically demanding.
Dude, it was a mile. Like literally, I it was clocked. It was a mile between the entrance of the hotel, where the corridor to the place where everything was happening.
I have scars on my feet from that convention.
Oh God, yeah. I do miss the RT Book Lovers Convention, though. I know that they have and I know the BookCon is doing now. I think they're coming here to Orlando this December for it, so I might just check it out to see how things are run and done. Yeah. And then keep you guys posted. But yeah, so that's been to Vegas once, so I might go back and have some fun with you guys. So yeah. We'll go from there. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Victoria, for taking the time to hang out with me today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
My pleasure.
Yeah. If you're not following Victoria on her social media, I will be including the links where you can find everything about her and on the episode's post over at Viviana, Enchantress of Books. And until next time, happy listenings.
Thank you to all of our Audiobook Lovin Podcast Patreon. Special thanks to Nixley Zenner, Carol Liebner, Line Black Peterson, Brittany Robinette Leiter, Don Darch, Michelle Bastard, Nancy Billows. The Audiobook Lovin Podcast has special Patreon access levels. Join today to receive benefits including early access to episodes, shout-outs, special exclusive content, and much more. Support the podcast by becoming a Patreon at www.patreon.com/audiobookloving. We thank you for your support.
Thank you for joining us on the Audiobook Lovin Podcast, hosted by Viviana, Enchantress of Books. For links and more information discussed in today's episode, previous podcasts, or the Audiobook Lovin Series, please visit our website, vivianaenchantressofbooks.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a positive review wherever you listen to our podcast. Until next time, happy listening.